Crazy equals genius. Whoa, whoa, if crazy equals genius, then I'm a fucking arsonist. I'm a rocket science. Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new YouTube video. Whew. My last 21 Pilots video managed to get up to 100 views. It took a little while, but it managed to get 100 views, so I asked myself, Diego, if you make more 21 Pilots videos, maybe it brings more views. They have a large fan base. Hey, that's a really good idea. Hey, I know. So here we are, back with another 21 Pilots video. My last 21 Pilots video, I reviewed and I gave my opinion on their new charity single, Level of Concern. I gave it a solid 6 out of 10. I think it was enjoyable. I think it's a fun track. I mean, nothing big or special, but hey, I liked it. I'll listen to it again if I have to. But today, we're here for something different. I am going to rank from least favorite to most favorite the entirety of 21 Pilots albums, including from Self-Titled to Trench. I expect many dislikes. Now please, before you dislike this video, please watch until the end. And hear me out on this. I love these guys. They are one of my favorite musicians just of all time. I mean, they got me through a rough patch of several years, but I do like them. I do think they have progressed and matured in a fantastic way. I think they're really good. But I also have different opinions. Yeah, and those different opinions might get me dislikes. But I really do like them. I mean, I have their merch, I have their albums, I've been to their concerts. But enough talk already. Let's start with my least favorite, placing number 5, Regional at Best. Regional at Best was their second album. And it's a tough one. I mean, the album is all over the place. Like, there's no real sound to it. And you can tell me that a lot of 21 Pilots albums, their sound is all over the place, except it works because of the production. The production here is god-awful. I mean, songs like Slow Town and Lovely are really hard to get through. Like, seriously, I can't finish them if I'm being completely honest with you. And they're honestly just a shorter and crappier rehash of superior songs that we've heard in future albums. A perfect example is Trees. Lord, I hate Trees in Regional at Best. The auto-tune being in the entirety of the song just extremely hurts it. So much. I do not like it. And Tyler's vocals in this album are also not the best. I can also probably say they're dog shit. Perfect example, start of Slow Town with the little
hey, wanna be great.
Like stuff like that, like out of here. And it's so weird listening to something like that when in a previous album he gave vocals superior, infinitely better than that. If I had to pick my worst songs of the album, probably Slow Town, Lovely, and Trees. And if I had to pick, best songs, Anathema and Ruby. Actually, Ruby might be the best song on the album because of the message and the story behind it, and I think it's a really nice, heartwarming piece of dedication to Ruby. Yes. If I have to give a ranking to Regional at Best by 21 Pilots, I have to be a 2 out of 10. I cannot get through this album, like seriously. I just can't. Placing it at number 4 is their first album they released back in 2009, their debut album, Selftitled. And in other words, 21 Pilots. This is the point where I enjoy the albums. I do not enjoy Regional at best. I can somewhat enjoy this one because it has really high highs, but it also has extremely low lows. And unlike Regional at best, this one has a direction of sound. It has this slight rock opera sound. Now, I'm not a music expert, but I can probably tell when albums or pieces of music can go through one direction. And this one does. I mean, songs like Isle of Flightless Birds is a perfect example of the sound, the general sound that the album goes through. In fact, if someone asked me what the general sound to listen to a song that would summarize the entirety of the album, would probably be Isle of Flightless Birds. That 1 minute intro with a slowed down tempo, and then when it hits, when the beat drops with that hip hop R&B type of beat, I think it's really good. I mean, I think it's greatly produced for a first album. I mean, it's not the best production in the world, but for a first album, I think it's really, really solid. And Tyler's vocals on here are amazing. In Trapdoor, the bridge and hook on Fall Away, I think they're really, really great. Also, he has a little fallouts, you know, like in Johnny Boy or the auto-tuned part in Aircatcher. I still don't understand that. But other than the low lows like The Pantaloon, Johnny Boy, and Before You Start Your Day, which are my least favorite songs in the album, and Let's Get It Out of the Way. The Pantaloon and Johnny Boy aren't just the worst 21 Pilot songs, they're also one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. Its production, its vocals, and mostly the confusing ass messages that the Pantaloon and Johnny Boy give out, they're just baffling to me. I still don't know what Johnny Boy can be about. Still don't know. And honestly, at this point, I could care less what it's about. But, I mean, they're there. But the high highs. The best songs on this album, to me, Fall Away, A Car Towards Death, Friend Please, and Trapdoor. I think the storytelling in A Car Towards Death and the last verse on Taxi Cab are top-notch storytelling for Tyler Joseph. I mean, honestly, you listen to the high highs in this album and you really ask yourself, where was this on Regional at best? It's weird. What brings down this album a lot, though, are its lows. Incredibly. Because although it has higher highs than Regional at best, the lowest lows on Self-Titled are lower than the lowest lows on Regional at best. It was a tough decision to whether put this in 4 or 5, but there are songs on here that are amazing. Literally, one of the best 21 Pilot songs is Fall Away, up to this day. If I had to give the album a ranking, it would probably be a solid 5 out of 10. Literally the definition of mid. Let's move into their top 3 albums. After they signed their record deal with Fueled by Ramen, these are the albums that have been the popular 21 Pilots albums. And choosing number 3 wasn't really that hard. At number 3, their second studio album, Blurryface. The story of Blurryface is really what puts this above Self-Titled and Regional at best. The entirety of the character around Blurryface, I think, is a creative, innovative way to write and go with a direction for new music. And I think Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn perfectly encapture the new sound that 21 Pilots went for. It went for a more edgy, hip-hop, reggae, and even pop sound. in this album, and it fits throughout the album. It fits through the messages and the themes and even the darkness of the story that the character of Blurryface tells along the way, and the embodiment of the character in Tyler Joseph. I know the band is a two-piece, but let's be real. This album is all about Tyler Joseph and his duality with his feelings, his inner demons. I think it captures it amazing. The album is just greatly produced. It's amazing. The production is one of the best production I've heard in an indie band. I mean, they're not indie, but it has this weird indie feeling to it, especially in songs like Message Man or Polarize. The production is top notch on there, and this album could be higher if it weren't for its misses, which are kind of tough on me. And let's talk about them. So my worst songs on the album are Not Today, We Don't Believe What's on TV, and Hometown. Now in Lane Boy, he mentions that there are songs on this record that feel common. And while I understand that he was trying to put it out there, it doesn't necessarily mean it's excused, because it shouldn't. Hometown is just a generic pop song that I would expect someone like Imagine Dragons or Coldplay to make. Not 21 Pilots in terms of lyrics and even sound. Feels very upbeat, but at the same time, it feels very basic. It sounds like a car commercial. I've literally seen it in car commercials. Not Today, I have a problem with Not Today, and it's one of the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of some of the songs in this album, and it's the edginess of it. Not Today, there's a lyric that stands out to me, which I dislike very much. Something about contradiction because of how happy it sounds, but the lyrics are so down. You don't need to mention the sound of your song and the lyrics and themes of it in the same line, or even in the same song. I think your listeners have been capable enough of understanding what you're saying and what you're sounding like. You don't need the all up in your face telling you what this is about and telling you what you need to listen for. It doesn't really need to be done that way. Another song that does this is Fairly Local. Although I like the idea of the verses contradicting each other, the bridge of this song will never be on the radio. It comes off as, I don't know, Brad Taste in Music said it perfectly, pretentiousness. And it really doesn't need that, because there's songs on here that are the perfect definition of what he's trying to say, but without saying it. The best songs on the album, I think, are Message Man, Lame Boy, Stressed Out, Ride, and Goner. Stressed Out gets a lot of hate for being the most played song. In my opinion, it's a great song that not only captures the idea of Blurryface, it's also a relatable song about growing up and leaving whatever you need to leave behind and trying to just move on with the matureness of life. It's a really relatable song that a lot of people can connect to. Lane Boy, I think Tyler's flow and the production of it and just the entirety of the last half of the song with all these synthy feels to it next to Josh's drum solos are great, amazing, top notch. And Goner is an amazing closer to the darkness and uniqueness and the sound of Blurryface. And not just the album Blurryface, but the character Blurryface. In my opinion, Goner is the best closer of any 21 Pilots album. If I had to give the album a rating, it would be probably a 7 out of 10. Okay, we're on to our top 2. Now, this has gone into albums not that I like, but that I love. I like Selftitled, I like Blurryface. We won't mention the other one, but these 2 albums, amazing. Very, very difficult to pinpoint why one is 1 and why 1 is 2. But at the end, I think I kind of did it. Again, personal opinion. But at number 2, I have Vessel. Vessel is their first album after signing with Fueled by Ramen, and it's great. It's amazing. It's unique. If a lot of 21 Pilots albums, in fact, majority of 21 Pilots albums have their sound all over the place, sometimes it works, like with Blurryface at times. Sometimes it doesn't, like Regional at best, because that
is dog shit.
With Vessel, I think it's the most consistent album in terms of sound, lyrics, and even themes. The themes on this album are really hard-hitting. Talking about, again, inner demons, the duality of one's true self, depression, and even suicide. And the sound of it, the sound is what Blurryface is telling you to listen to, but Vessel doesn't tell you to listen to it. It just shows you. The best songs on this are Ode to Sleep, Holding On to You, Guns for Hands, Trees, and Fake You Out, in my opinion. But the one that really hits to me, Ode to Sleep and Holding On to You, and Guns for Hands. See, this album is so good, I can't even pinpoint one song. Guns for Hands is a perfect definition of the playfulness and the joyfulness of the sound with the dark lyrics and themes. I mean, if anything, Guns for Hands is probably the happiest sounding song in the whole album, and it's also the most lyrically dark song on the album as well. I mean, talking about suicide and the struggle of having to put back the voices inside one's head. I mean, it's lyrically deep and dark. And the duality between sound and lyrics is what make Vessel amazing. Also, the production is just top-notch on this album. Great. And here are my least favorite songs. I can't even say worst songs because saying worst would imply that they're bad. Here are my least favorite songs. It's Semi-Automatic and Hear Me Out. Please don't hate me.
Car radio.
Now, I've never been able to figure out why I don't enjoy car radio. Maybe it's because it feels forced when I know it isn't forced, and I know it's such a personal song to Tyler, but I've just never been able to enjoy it as much as the others. Again, I'm not saying it's bad because, I mean, the song live, it's great. It's amazing. But if I'm in my room and car radio comes on, I'm probably gonna skip it. Again, I've never been able to figure out why, but... And it really hurts to say it because car radio is like the emblem, the anthem of 21 Pilots fans. Car radio is what 21 Pilots fans usually tell non-21 Pilots listeners to go listen to. In my opinion, should be another song like Go to Sleep or Holding On to You, but a lot of people go with car radio. It's a very loved song, and it really hurts me when I say that I don't really enjoy it. Vessel also shows how bad of an album Regional at Best is, because with awful songs and Regional at Best like Trees, over to Vessel, it's one of the best songs on the album. Trees is amazing. I love Trees on here. And it just shows how much better these guys can do, because you have Regional at Best Trees and then you have Vessel Trees, and there's a big difference between it. Like, seriously. If I had to give this album a rating, I'd give this album a 9 out of 10. And placing at number 1, the best 21 Pilots album, and in my opinion, one of the best albums that I've ever heard. And I really recommend it. If you're not a 21 Pilots listener, in fact, even if you're a 21 Pilots hater, listen to this album without the idea that it's 21 Pilots. Just take the idea that it's 21 Pilots out of your head. Listen to this album, and I guarantee that you're gonna at least like it, enjoy it. For me, it's a masterpiece of an album. No misses on this thing. Trench. Their latest release, October 2018. I really tried to figure out a least favorite song. I couldn't. I enjoy every single one of the songs on here. Every single one. There is no skips. There's no fast forwards on this. It's all a hit. They're all bops. Seriously. And it's the best production out of any 21 Pilots album. The best production. And let's not talk about how this album was created. Creatively. The story of Dima adds so many layers to this album. So many layers. Not only in terms of concept, but in terms of storytelling. The storytelling on this album is amazing. And it's not storytelling like songs like Stan by Eminem or For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole. It's not storytelling in a song, it's storytelling in an album. You could even consider this a concept album. Now, not every song follows the story of Dima and the Bishops and Nico and whatnot. But the songs that do tie the story perfectly, starting from Jumpsuit to Leave the City, which in my opinion is the second best closer to a 21 Pilots album. And the direction of sound that this takes is ironically all over the place. Like seriously, you have an R&B hip-hop song like Morph to a heavy metal rock sound that Jumpsuit has, to a reggae sound that Nico and the Niners has. The sound is all over the place, but it makes sense. It ties the album really nicely. And it's ironic because one of the reasons I don't like Regional at best is because the sound has no direction. It's all over the place. And Trench, it's all over the place, but the sound of the song, the production of the tracks, it takes you to another place. It really does. Songs like Chlorine that switch up the sound at least twice. Amazing. Great. Honestly, there is not a miss on this album. Even songs like The Hype that can sound generic and basic give you a lot of lyrical depth. I mean, it's literally a song mocking the mainstream media, which is what Lameboy tried to do, except it's not all up in your face in it. Because The Hype, although it might sound, again, generic, it's also a great addition to the album, and it fits perfectly. It's amazing. It's great. And the fact that it's a sequel to an even a larger story of the Blurryface saga makes it even better. It truly does. Honestly, Trench, 10 out of 10. In 2018, next to Royce the 5'9's Book of Ryan, Trench by 21 Pilots, best album of the year. Alright guys, that was my ranking of 21 Pilots discography, from least favorite to most favorite. I know I'm probably gonna get people a little mad because I know a lot of people love Regional at best and a lot of people love Selftitled. Again, I enjoy Selftitled. I can listen to it. There's really great songs in it, but Regional at best, I just can't listen to Regional at best. I can't. It's really a pain. But other than that, their 3 studio albums are just really good. Blurryface being its slowest, it's still a solid 7. And the other 2, Vessel, 9 out of 10, Trench, full-blown masterpiece. Honestly, I can't wait to see what direction these guys take, because honestly, they're predictably unpredictable. As another YouTuber said it, I can't remember who, But yeah, can't wait to see where these guys go. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And as always, stay tuned for more. Maybe I'll do more 21 Pilots videos. If you like this video and if you gave me a chance and you didn't dislike it the moment I said it, comment down below what 21 Pilots content you would like to see. I would gladly do it. I love these guys. Anyway, have a good night. I need an outro and an intro, man. Gasoline and most things in between. Didn't I shut you off?